Hello, I'm Susan Lee MacDonald with The Interview. Things that we see around us every day can be transformed into something fantastic depending on how we use them. Today, we'll be meeting a former fashion designer turned party planner to the stars who has taken linen to a whole out-of-this-world level. Let's meet the one and only Youngsong Martin. Parties large and small are an integral part of American society. Many of these parties now feature colorful linens and flowers to create a fairy tale scene. All of this is the work of party designer Youngsong Martin. Martin went to the US at the age of 21 to study fashion with no guarantees. She succeeded in launching the YS collection, a fashion brand using her initials, in the fashion hub of San Francisco. Meanwhile, Martin had been experimenting with linens and flowers to make parties more fun and elaborate, and change simple gatherings into festivals. In 2001, she founded Wildflower Linen. The field of party design had been relatively unexplored to that point, and she became a pioneer. Without any help or information, she was able to become a party designer recognized first throughout the US and then all over the world.
Oh, White House. I'm pretty sure you're calling from Pennsylvania Avenue White House, right? And they say yes. Oh my God. Is this the White House? They said, yes, it is. I was like, hello. And then, okay, White House, talk to me. Yes. It's really for my own sake because I want to make sure things are perfect. For what I said I was going to do. It's a promise between client and myself, and myself and myself.
Join me, Susan Lee MacDonald, and explore the energy and magic of party design that blooms at Youngsong Martin's fingertips on this week's The Interview. First of all, Young, welcome to The Interview. I'm so happy you're here in Korea.
Well, thank you for having me here. Well, you know what? This is really awesome. I get to actually do a TV thing in here in my own hometown.
Yes.
This is awesome.
Wonderful, yay. Well, first of all, you have been the party planner and linen maker extraordinaire that every single top celebrity in the US and around the world want you to be their go-to person. Why do you think that is?
I'm not really sure everybody, but I think I do share a few top celebrity as my client. And top celebrity in the way of maybe movie stars and politicians and whatnot, you know, a lot of places. But I'm not going to say it's all, yes. Why? Let me see. Because I'm fabulous.
You are fabulous.
I don't know. I don't know.
You know, I understand that you don't use any kind of advertising for the work that you do, and it's all word of mouth. Is that true?
It is true. I don't really do a lot of advertisement because what I do is really, by the time when it is showing on the photo, I think it doesn't really display what actually, you know, what I did. So it's really hard to actually put that in, you know, one little, you know, shots to say, okay, this is what I am, kind of thing. Mostly because of that reason, but gosh, it's so, I'm so thankful that people, you know, my clients actually go out and said, you know what, I think you should hire Young again, kind of thing. So I'm in business.
You are in business, and what a business it is. We're going to get to talk a lot about you today, and I'm going to ask you all kinds of questions that I've been dying to know personally, because I've seen you and I've kind of kept an eye on some of your work, partially because I've just hoped that one day, if and when I do get married, that I might want to call upon the best of the best.
Okay, you know what? On television, I am going to do your wedding.
Really? That's a promise?
Yes. Now I just need a ring.
Okay, let's get the guy first.
Okay, that sounds good.
Say goodbye to the same old cookie-cutter gatherings. With colorful linens and flowers, Wildflower Linen, led by designer Youngsong Martin, will take you into a new fantasy world of parties. Martin's endless efforts and delightfully innovative creations have made her the darling of elite American society with an A-list clientele. Martin's touch can be found in surprising places, including the wedding in Twilight, Breaking Dawn, and parties thrown by stars like Jennifer Lopez, Elton John, and Oprah Winfrey. Martin's fresh perspectives on parties even brought her to the White House, where she planned a party for the American and Russian first couples.
I had a phone call from a White House, and then I heard the First Lady loved it. My table linen entertained the First Lady and the Russian First Lady. That's good enough for me.
In Korea, she was known as the mastermind behind the Lotte Hotel's wedding show. We see Youngsong Martin's magical touch at work and learn about the philosophy behind her party designs, revealed for the first time on The Interview.
You really bond with a lot of your clients, don't you? And I imagine that just as I interview different guests for my show and really put a lot of work into finding out who that person is so that we can have a good show, you probably do something similar to me in that you have to interview the client and see who they are before you can recommend what to do. Is that right?
Well, see, I think it's being in a part of the event business, I get to actually interview the client in order for me to actually do perfect, the event, whether that might be wedding or that might be engagement or that might be, like a birthday party, but I really want to know what the client wants.
Yes.
So that is the moment I become a great interviewer.
And you have to be like a psychologist
That's
too on
it.
some level,
That's yes. Because a lot of times they don't really know what they want. Because, I mean, I make a just joke about a client want to, I want a very small but 1,000 people wedding. That's like a joke, but then it's like I want elegant and there's just something simple, but I want modern, but then also I want a lot of colors or something of that nature, right?
Right.
So in order for me to actually sort of shrink their head and then try to take out what they really want,
Right.
kind of thing. So it's a really interesting job.
So you have to listen to what the client wants, what the event is, and also interview the client to know exactly what it is that they don't even realize they want.
Right.
Right?
That's correct.
And provide an incredible scene for them.
Incredible scene, incredible moments, and then a lot of those. And so by the time we are done with the interviewing, and then after we create the whole event, there's a lot of talks and a lot of emails, and then a lot of emotional connections and all. But by the time event is done, we are friends.
Yeah. Tell us about some of your other celebrity clients that you are able to talk about, because I know that you probably are unable to talk about every person because of privacy issues and confidentiality.
Yeah.
Can you share us something that was specifically so fantastic that you did that the client was just completely overwhelmed?
Well, I mean, very beginning of it, I think it's of course there are very, very big events. And some of the stuff I can't actually talk about it because security issues, a lot of other stuff. But one event was that I just got into business, and it wasn't very long after. I received a phone call, and there was a day before Oscar party. And then someone says, I'm actually having an event. We are having an event at the Sharon Osbourne's house, Ozzy Osbourne's. And, actually it was not. The event was the day before, but it was a few weeks before. And it is one of the Elton John's, AIDS Foundation they actually called us and say, we need the linen. We need the linen, and then I want you to actually give me, this linen, because Elton John happened to really love white.
Yes, I think he's famous for liking white.
Yeah,
Yes.
so white. And then they said, well, can you actually choose all the whites and then come to Sharon Osbourne's house? Just remember this. I have not actually done any kind of celebrity events yet.
Okay.
And I thought, wow, this is awesome, awesome, awesome time, right? So I went to the, the event site, and I'm actually looking in the back. And then event was night, setting was, like outside, outdoor. I just could not see white.
Really?
I just could not see white.
Is it because there was bad lighting, or what was it that you were not able to see white? Normally you'd be able to see white.
Well,
No?
metaphorically speaking, I'm actually looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, white at night, and if we are actually creating everything else, to me it was a cacophony, in my opinion. The backyard,
Yes.
very lush, it's beautiful. I just thought if we can actually create a green, purple, hydrangea, all of that mixture, and then if we put that, and then candlelights, and all of that, and then I know that it's going to be a black tie party, and then they are going to wear most gorgeous clothes. I thought that will actually, the table is going to become part of the nature. These people are going to be, what they're wearing will become even more like accentuated. I fought, and I thought, okay, the white is not a right color, and white is not right color. And at the end, I changed it. And then thinking I'm going to get fired.
So the client initially wanted all white because Elton John prefers all white. And after your professional opinion of this, of examining this place, you decided that you shouldn't do all white.
I fought so much, and at the end they said, you know what, do it, yeah. I'm done with the fighting, and I thought, okay, I'm done for this event industry, because I could see they hate me.
Oh no.
But I actually saw the client's reaction and the guest's reaction. And then I think
And what was the reaction?
Wow. And then I think one of the guests was NBC's morning show host. She actually said, "You did this?" And then she said, "You know what? I've been to a lot of events, but I must say this was one of the most beautiful events I've been attending."
How did that feel to have someone who has been to party after party of the best kind to say something like that to you?
It was like the head swelling experience. My head was getting like about that big, and I thought the door is too small to go through my head.
Wow. I mean, what an incredible boost for you, but I'm sure that was probably something that helped to even kickstart your business even more at that time. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think that confidence of, okay, I can actually make client happy. I actually decide to actually show, it doesn't have to be always, a certain thing. Although, it would have been really great to actually have some white, kind of thing created. But luckily, it wasn't only the Elton John event; it was a Sharon Osbourne event as well. So actually, when at the end, when I actually, realized this is a really great thing, because not only just for my own ego thing, but I think the client actually saw it's okay to use something else. I mean, I don't think it's Elton John, even realized that. But what I mean is, they're, the client who hired me. So
you had a successful career as a fashion designer, and you transferred into party planning, but mainly linen design. I'm curious, how was it that a fashion designer who was doing very well for herself decided to go into a completely different field altogether?
There was 3 very funny incidents happened.
Yeah.
So number one incident was that Women's Wear Daily had asked me to participating in this trade show, which that I never in the whole fashion career, ever go to straightforward to my buyer. I had showrooms in 7th Avenue, at Los Angeles, at the LA Mart, and all over the place in Dallas.
And the name of your brand was YS?
At the time, YS,
Yes.
yeah. And then it was Youngsong, and then YS. So, and then I actually created a second brand. It's a weekend wear called the Wildflower. So there was more like easy wear, something very easy, and then so knowing that my clients has grown into, my client who used to buy YS brand, now they are into more, they are, housewives and their moms. So I decided to actually create that, create that as a weekend wear. But so we are now in Las Vegas doing this show. And they came in, and then, my buyers came in, and they all are taking a picture, not my clothes, but they're actually taking a picture of my booth.
Of your booth?
They said, oh my God, this booth is so amazing. So
interesting.
Yeah, I think there was a time that I was actually trying to create this booth, try to use this, how do I create this booth most amazingly? So I went out in Home Depot and I actually cut out all the PVC pipe to create this perfect angle and then make a tent. So we actually did that. We made that whole tent and then PVC pipe joining it.
Yes.
And that's how I did it. And then put everything inside. Wildflower was all hanging from the ceiling. And then I look at what...
Sounds beautiful.
It was beautiful. They actually provided 2 chairs. And I knew they were going to, for buyer to sit. And then it was a metal folding chair.
A metal folding chair. That sounds really uncomfortable and ugly.
Everything's white, everything is. I went out and I actually engineered the whole tent. And then I'm not gonna let my client sit in there, so I covered it. I covered that. I think about second day into the show, of course, meanwhile, they all touch my fabrics and my clothing and says it's beautiful. Price point is way too expensive, and I'm thinking, oh, where is this world coming to, right? So, but they love chair covers. So one day this lady came and says, my daughter does a wedding. I think she can actually use these chair covers for the wedding.
So was she getting married or was she a wedding planner?
She says her daughter was a wedding planner.
Oh.
Susan, I didn't even know there was a job, like occupation called the wedding planning. So I thought, okay, this is very interesting. So I came home and then I actually went through Yellow Page and I saw there was out of that thick book.
The big phone book.
Yellow Page. There was, I don't even think people know what Yellow Page is.
Yeah. Now everything's online, but back in the day, I think they still do deliver it to homes in certain areas, but not as common.
But there was like a thing at the time. You have to be in a Yellow Page, otherwise you are not legitimate, right? So here we go. I actually look in there, and funny part was, you're gonna laugh at this. There was one lady, 2 event planners were there. One person's name was Susan McDonald.
Are you serious? Wait, the phone book where you looked at, one of the wedding planners was my name? That's too funny. Oh my gosh. I'd like to say it was me, but.
I know. So I called them at about 8:30 at night. How rude of me.
That's too funny. Oh, wow.
Because at 7 after, my husband will kill somebody to call at my house. So here I said, okay, well, I'm going to call anyway. So I called and I explained to them what I have, and I just wanted to find out what this was all about. We had an appointment to go see it. I just wanted to see this industry, what this is all about. I did, actually.
So you worked with Susan McDonald. She must have been fantastic, right?
Oh, she is fantastic, still fantastic.
Actually, it's so funny you say that because sometimes people have typed in my name in some search engines and my name will come up, but there's also a wedding planner. Yeah. So it must be that same woman.
Oh, yes. Very famous, by the way.
That's too
Very
funny.
Famous. And then, that I am now going into rental companies, and then I'm looking at their plates, and I'm looking at their, things, linens. And I am flabbergasted at this moment. It's like everything is institutional and it is so predictable. And then I thought, okay, why only? I mean, remember, probably not, but when I was pregnant, I go out and try to look for the pregnant,
Like maternity wear?
One of the biggest thing was polka dots and red bows. And then I thought,
Like everything was polka dots.
or something like that. And I thought, what happens the minute that women get pregnant? Do we become clowns?
So there wasn't creativity in linen design at the time, or
Even a
maternity
rental,
wear.
right?
Yeah.
And so I'm standing in this rental company, and then oh my God, about a few years back, well maybe like almost 10 years back, or maybe not, maybe, some year back, I was at Spago at Wolfgang Park's restaurant, and I think it was right before he was actually doing an Oscar party, and he says, "Oh, Richard Young, I cannot find really for China for my Suite de Lazar's party, for Oscar party." And I thought, why do we need you are a really amazing chef. Why do you need to worry about it? I didn't even know what he meant at the time. But now I'm looking at my own party, I'm looking at plates.
Yes.
I said, oh no. So that's when I knew everything. 1, 2, 3 makes all the sense.
Yes.
So that's when I decided. So we can actually go into that church. 잘했어.
Late at night, the hotel's wedding team are still in a heated meeting.
That to me is
The
beautiful.
first objective of the meeting, led by Wildflower Linen CEO Youngsong Martin, is to break away from the staff's preconceptions.
가장 중요한 필라스포는 이 세상에 이쁘지 않은 건 세상에 없는데 제대로 있는 데가 없어서 그래. 그 제자리가 있어야만 돼 그게. 하는 경우에는 또
In the flash of an eye, she creates art from the few linen samples lying around.
Okay, that's good. 가가지고 이제 이거 이제 엄청나게 먹겠다.
꽃이 죽겠어요.
The focus is on rearranging what is already available. The staff are unable to hide their excitement.
저희가 이 웨딩 컨셉에 대해서 선생님한테 의견을 좀 여쭤보고 하고 있는데요. 선생님 말씀하신 것 중에 색깔을 겁내지 않으면 충분히 그 의견이 반영돼서 잘 나올 수 있다는 게 굉장히 감동적인 것 같아요.
정말 예쁜 인비테이션을 여기다 넣는 거야.
Her first tip is to be unafraid of color, but there's not enough color around to demonstrate that.
똑같은 색깔을 하려면 거기에 분명히 어떤 액센트가 하나가 필요한데 우리 하얀 꽃 좀 있나?
장미하고 뭐 수국하고
그런 거 있어? So, okay.
Martin and the staff move to the flower room, filled with blossoms of every color.
오케이. 핑크도 있고 네, 색깔도 다 여기 있으니까 it's great. 그냥 내 생각에는 우리가 저기 뭐지?
The flowers are a perfect way to add color to a party. But will they be able to arrange the colors together well?
가장 문제가 편견이거든요. 이거가 있을 때 이거 하면 안 되는 줄 아는데 이 세상에는 그런 게 없어요, 사실은. 그래서 겁내지 말아라 그 얘기는 편견 갖지 말아라 그 얘기였어요. 이것도 예쁘다.
A quick glance around the room, and Martin is filled with energy. There's no set formula for Martin. She refuses to limit her imagination and chases after hidden harmonies in the chaos.
아이보리가 빠진 것 같아. 이거 하고 이거 하면 너무 예쁘잖아. 그런데 그냥 옐로우만 갖다 했을 때 너무 밋밋해. 뭔가가 있어야 되는데 화기가 마땅치가 않잖아. 그렇게 화기를 만들어야지. 근데 나는 지금 그 하얀 거 하고 그 뭐지 이 하얀 거 하고 블랙에 컴비네이션이 되면 참 예쁠 거라고 생각이 되거든. 이거로 인해 가지고 갑자기 굉장히 모던한 느낌이 났었으니까. 저기 똑같이.
After a long meeting, the hall finally begins to change.
Okay, good. Hello.
From the planning stages to gathering the necessary items to communicating with staff,
너무 길어. 그러니까 이거 조그만 병에다가 짧게
Martin is involved every step of the way. She says that the larger the event, the more she needs to connect with the frontline staff.
꽃 스타일링뿐만 아니라 전체적인 컨셉을 하시는 이제 선생님이시니까 굉장히 이제 어렵게 생각했는데 굉장히 편하게 대해주셨고 컨셉 같은 것도 자세하게 디테일하게 이제 알려주셨기 때문에 제가 편하게 할 수 있었던 것 같아요.
After the long hours of work, the party is finally ready for presentation. Youngsong Martin's work needs no introduction. In Martin's hands, ordinary items harmonize to create a fantastic party. She hopes to inspire young people through her work.
아마 모르긴 해도 저보다 상당히 괜찮은 그런 성공을 할 수 있는 뭐 본인이 원하는 그게 무엇이 됐든지 간에 할 수 있는 그런 게 될 것 같고 그분들한테 그걸 얘기해주고 싶어요. Don't be anybody else, just be yourself.
Youngsong Martin is an endlessly creative designer who doesn't permit anything to limit her art. With her help, parties continue to discover breathtaking beauty in the most ordinary places.
Take us through what it means to be an event planner, a wedding planner, a linen designer, because I imagine that you wear multiple hats. Maybe someone comes to you and they say, okay, I have this great event that I need to plan and my budget is, X amount. I'll come to you and can you design my, wedding? Mm-hmm. And then what would you say? Do you plan every single thing from all the candles and all the flowers too, or is it only linens? Does it differ from event to event?
This industry is very, very unique because it's a make up many talented individuals. Mm-hmm. I happen to be my main thing is a linen design.
Okay.
And then linen design happened to be the covering of the most spaces. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the first thing people noticed. Mm-hmm. But then there is a florist who can actually create things with the flowers, but they're not only the florist. They actually do other things as well. Huh. And then I, as a linen designer, I don't only do linens, but I also do events. Mm-hmm. But then there is a planners who actually doesn't do neither flowers or the linens, but they actually have a really excellent visions too. So this is one of those like industry that a lot of people do a lot of things, but sometimes we do all same thing.
I see.
My thing happened to be the linen design.
So as your main thing, you do linen design, but you do plan incredible parties too.
I do, and all depending on what who the client is. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the client come directly to me, mm-hmm. and then we talk about whole vision together, and then I become the creative director, and then I do that. Or sometimes management service mm-hmm. come to me and says, okay, I want you to be the creative director and do the whole thing. Uh-huh. Or sometimes clients such as like big institutions, they actually don't want it to. It's like a big top secret in some cases because of security reason. Mm-hmm. So they said, okay, you will be the one who's doing all of that kind mm-hmm. of thing. So, but then sometimes I'm collaborating with other people, and then I become a linen designer.
Gotcha.
But then sometimes I become a flower consultant, even though I'm not a florist, but I actually mm-hmm. choose the actual flower colors, mm-hmm. and then height, and then the containers mm-hmm. and all of that I actually designed, and then somebody actually put all that together kind of thing. So
you spoke of working with some top celebrities, but you've also talked about working with some people that you may not be able to go into all the details because of security and maybe confidentiality, but I do know that you worked with the White House. How did that come about?
Well, okay, so one day, one of my assistants says, White House is on the phone. And of course, I'm about half a joke always in my life. Mm-hmm. So I said, White House. White House can be many things. Restaurants, and White House can be this or that, and mm-hmm. many White House. So I answered the phone very relaxed manner. Oh, White House. I'm pretty sure you're calling from Pennsylvania Avenue White House, right? And they say yes. And then I thought, oh my God, is this the White House? They said, yes, it is. And I thought, okay, well.
How did you feel at that time?
I said straight up. I was like, hello, and then, okay, White House, talk to me. Yes.
That's too funny. And what did they want you to do?
So the visiting the dignitary was the Russian president. So of course, after like talking to them, and I made the White House staff paint the Fabergé egg all weekend night. I think they did that, and I don't know how many they did it, but they did tell me they were up all night painting the Fabergé eggs as a centerpieces.
Wow.
So I'm painful.
You're a taskmaster. Work all night. But how did everything come out? Was it to your satisfaction?
Well, I never saw the actual thing because it was most of my thing is always behind the scene. I actually am telling them my opinions a lot of times. But in this case, I saw the photo, and then more than anything else, my client says they were like so happy.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah. And I imagine that because they were happy with some of the work that you did, that you may potentially have continued working relations?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Potentially.
Yeah. Potentially. Wink, wink.
I love working, and so I think that's probably what makes me happy. But then also, I love seeing my son. And then also, another thing, there's a lot of things make me happy. Oh my God, life is full of happiness, so life is happy. I hear many people said I have a lot of energy. I think there was just so much in me that I want to share. So then when it comes out, I'm very passionate about that, what I believe in. So that comes out. And then I think it doesn't just come out, but it comes out really passionately, scarily passionately. And that's probably what projects as my energy.
Let's talk about your childhood a little bit, because you are a Korean-born, naturalized citizen of the States, and you spent most of your childhood here in Korea, yes?
True. I left here when I was 21 years old.
And what about your family? I mean, leaving Korea at that time was not something that a lot of people did on their own. And you decided to pursue fashion in the States. Was your family really supportive of that? Were they sad that you were leaving? You are one of, what, 6 siblings?
Yeah, one of 6. Well, I don't remember whether they were supportive or not, but I'm pretty sure they were sad. I hope they were sad.
They probably were. You're so fun. How can they not be sad when you're leaving?
But in hindsight, I am so glad I actually explored the things that what I was actually aspired to at the time. Wanted to go to somewhere bigger and then larger, and explore some new opportunities. And new opportunities was not an opportunity as a materialistic thing, but it was more of learning different things and explore the. In that time, in 70s, Korea was still like at the man-dominant society at the time, and I have a sassy mouth.
You're very spunky, if I can say that.
Yeah, I don't think they would really love me very, very much, but it wasn't that reason. But I felt a little confined, so I left, and I think America actually embraced me, and then there was the land of okay for everything at the time, and land of embracing individuality.
Yes.
And I think I have a plenty of individualism.
Absolutely. So you decided to leave Korea at the time, at 21, a pretty young age, by yourself, going to the States. And did you immediately go into fashion design?
I did study business for a while, and then I realized I really need to go back to my roots, that what I really loved, that was fashion. So I crossed the country. I drove a whole 80, and I went to fashion. In San Francisco, I enrolled in a fashion institute.
I see.
Studied, and then when I got out, I knew that was my calling. I mean, I really loved it. And it was hard life.
Wow.
I paid really high tuition, and then my first, I think it was a minimum wage was about $3 something or $4 something. That's what I got paid.
Wow.
And then so I literally started from the bottom.
What was your first job right out of school?
I worked at the famous Jessica McClintock.
Oh, really?
And I was a pattern maker, assistant designer, and I did all of that stuff.
What was that work like for you? Was it what you expected it to be?
No, I felt it was engineering perspective. I loved it because I'm a sort of like a great architect in a way to actually creating the like it's a geometry wise. I loved it because making pattern, but. I thought it was lacked in creativity. I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna make a little house on the prairie clothes rest of my life.
I have a lot of friends back in the day that really liked that brand.
Yeah, Connie Sachs, right? And then I'm like, I'm
funny.
gonna die if I do this. So I was looking for a new job, and then I did a lot of different things. I was a pattern making or the O'Neill company, did a, the swimsuit company, and then also Banana Republic when they were at the jacket makers, leather jacket makers. That I actually made patterns and things like that.
I have several of them even still.
Yeah.
Maybe you designed them.
Yeah. Well, somebody designed it, and I made a pattern at the time. So I was like a pattern maker for that, and I mean I really love that aspect of the making garments. So I did that, and then. At the end, I ended up working for a license, like company who does a private labor company, and I became a head designer there. So I got to be a designer for some of the, I'm like a nameless designer, but then also the like many different designs I was able to do. I did some designs for Disney, and then I did, but it's never go out of our names. It was other people's names.
I see.
But then I become a businesswoman. I had to do a lot of different things, a lot of different negotiations, and I really learned about business part, and I thought that was really interesting too. I loved it.
To be so creative and to also run a successful business doesn't always go hand in hand. You always hear of the starving artist, the people who are so brilliant in their design and their artwork and everything, but they don't know how to make a living because they're just focused on their craft. And sometimes people take real pride in that. And then you've got the business people who may not necessarily be very creative, but they know how to do business well. How is it that you're able to have such a successful company as you have? Because Wildflower Linens has not only been around for a while, it's, in your own words, doubling every year. How can you combine the two together?
I think it's a responsibility. I think it's when it comes to business part, it really is not about profit. It is about responsibility. I have my comrades, people who work with me, and those people, they are seriously the one who's making the company. And I am head of the organization, and these people send their kids to college. These people bought a house. They have a mortgage payment to make. They have a car payment to make. And you know what? I can't actually be ego-driven and then looking at my chair cover and says, wow, this is one of the most thing ever, beautiful. Okay, all right, that's that time, and then let's move on to real business, because those people need to get paid, and they actually we are in a serious business at this moment. So I think having that balance and recognizing that responsibility, I think that makes the really a big difference between the pure artist and commercial artists like myself.
You know, you're kind of like a superwoman. Seriously, because you are so feminine. I mean, for a woman to choose fashion design, it's a very kind of feminine profession. You know, it's different than being you know, a straight out engineer or a shipbuilder, right? That's a typically more masculine job. You're very feminine, and you have that creativity, and you do your business, and you have a son that you've raised so well, and you're happy with your husband. How is it possible to have all of those elements together? I mean, you must have some type of secret to making it all work, because not everyone can do that.
I think it's number one, I'm doing what I think I love doing the most. I think that's the best. Number two,
You're so lucky.
Oh yes, I am very lucky. Number two, I think you need to actually put your priorities straight. What is the most important thing? Because just like events, what is the most important thing? And then that's the priority in life, and I think it's priority. Number one, number two, whatever. And then there is, so if you spend more time on your most important things, so to me, it's life is all about setting your value high. And the value thing is really important to me. Unfortunately, young ones these days, I think value is driven by the material things. And that's sad, but you know, my upbringing doesn't allow me to be materialistic.
And within your family, what do you think were certain mottos or values that you learned specifically?
Family mottos were, I think it's a compassion. They always talk about compassion. Just feel like treat them right, treating people right.
Because it seems like that is your motto as well. The way that you treat not only your clients, but the people that you work with. You've had people who've worked with you, you know, from the inception of your company, and people who don't want to leave your company because they love being part of your team. How do you feel about how you've been able to kind of put in compassion into your business philosophy?
I think a lot of times, you know, like there's the Korean saying, 진심은 통한다, right? So to me is that it's the equality of, you know, there's no difference between my employees and myself. Although, I mean, it's not, I'm not going to say, you know, everybody stays. You know, some people leave, and that's okay. And some people comes, and newcomers comes, and, you know, someone who doesn't like my company, they leave, and that's, you know, that's not a uncommon thing. That's okay. But the thing is, recognition that who actually are working hard as a team, I do recognize that. And at the same time, I don't ever think that I am one of those mighty a king or queen or anything like that. I'm just a comrade of this, you know, same, you know, working place. And I happen to be the one who signed the check. That's the difference.
Going to any kind of event, and you guys might have several events during the weekend or a day even, and you're known for going to a lot of your events to do some last minute kind of touches and retouches, and that you're a real stickler for details. And a lot of, you know, executives would want their, you know, other people to go and find out what's going on, but you go there directly. Why is that?
I think, I mean, certain events that at the very beginning, I actually have until the client is client is actually used to my like team. I do go there to actually make a client. We are still learning client in many times, but then also it's really for my own sake, because I want to make sure things are perfect for what I said I was going to do. It's a promise between client and myself, and myself. So, for an example, when I came here here, God, thank God, I always wanted to come back to Korea for a long time, and then one day, Lotte actually asked me to come and join their team as a creative director for the events. Well, they actually gave me an opportunity to learn about Korean cultures and weddings. I had to relearn the whole thing.
Interesting.
But the thing is, it was not only one time. I mean, I of course come over here. I could send my number twos here, but I come over here all the time. Every year. It's a fourth year that I come over here and do the things together. And the thing is, I come here to learn about real Korea. I come over here to really what is that my client, the Lotte, is really what is that all about still, you know, because that's why I'm here.
Yes.
And then number three is, it's really me. It's like I am actually, if I'm moving on to the next thing, I get to learn about the, you know, different things. For an example, more I learn about you know, the events and about clients,
Yes.
there's more to learn.
Young, I'd like to ask you about some of the plans that you have in Jeju Island.
I have never been to Jeju until last year.
Uh-huh.
I heard about Jeju and I thought everywhere else in the other island in the world was beautiful. Minute that I arrived in Jeju and I wept. So beautiful.
Really?
The food was just, oh, I don't really eat sushi. But I did. And then I actually saw real haenyeo. And then they are hardworking, the work ethics. And when I saw that, and it made me.
The diving women.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And then I think when I come back and I said, I think I could have been a haenyeo in the, you know, if I, you know, like if I was born again or something. And they say, yes, 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 you could. You have that spirit. So we have something in common.
That's so funny.
So I actually thought, okay, everyone in America right now, people are asking for destination wedding, smaller wedding. They want to go somewhere more smaller, like exotic, and I thought, this is a real city, real place. It is the most exotic place I have been. One of the most exotic. It's not touristic. It's real. It's quiet and so much to do and just so beautiful. And so when I went to America, of course, I have a big mouth, so I keep everybody I talk about Jeju, how beautiful it was. And the next thing I know, one of my the planner who actually have this great big plan, big plan, wanted to bring these wedding planners to Jeju Island.
So is it a conference for wedding planners?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be a sort of like a, you know, bridge to like. Remember, like when I went to America, I had to learn all the things about America.
Yes.
Now, Americans will come to Asia and they're going to learn about Asia.
Wow.
And I'm going to be the ambassador.
That's fantastic. Yay! Good for you. Wow. Well, you know, what great fortune for all the wedding planners who would be coming in the end of this year to see you talk about this incredible market that Asia has for, you know, for weddings, and they can learn so much about the differences that they can only learn from someone who, you know, has the expertise like yourself.
I want them to come over here and I want them to see Jeju, not only Jeju, but Seoul. We have this most amazing shopping as well as palaces. Oh, its palace is not huge and it is very quaint and beautiful. And then that's mixed in right in a most, you know, like amazing part of the like Seoul shopping area.
Yes.
And I am like, I'm pretty sure they're going to have really amazing time.
You know, you'll probably end up being one of Korea's kind of tourist ambassadors.
Oh my God, I don't know about that, but you know what? Whoever comes, they're going to really enjoy it. I guarantee it.
And I can imagine that with all the planning that you've done over the years and the expertise that you would bring will not only help to benefit the wedding planners there, but the weddings that they plan, and that you have an absolute effect on not just, you know, a small group of people, but on many, many people, because weddings and these events are someone's most important and most special day. And I know that's putting a lot of pressure on you too.
No, actually, the pressure is actually like sort of like, I don't even know I'm on pressure at the time. Only thing I know is I have that responsibility to make that one happen most amazingly, most closely, and I have total responsibility to make my client happy. I'm in a making people happy business.
Wow. It's been such an amazing time spending time with you here, Young. And as much as I wish that this hour show were actually several hours and talk to you and pick your brain, I think that I'm going to have to experience firsthand what it's like down the line
There we
to
go.
have you as an event planner or wedding planner for me.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And I have one last thing to ask you.
Yeah.
If you can give advice to aspiring designers, anything that might be helpful to them, what would you say?
Do not have a prejudice and just go experience everything because the world is full of beauty. And then when you're actually putting all that put together, just when you are just experiencing dealing with the beautiful things, it is beautiful. And just experience it. Just experience it with your heart.
Great.
That's my advice.
Wow. Well, from my heart to yours, I really want to thank you for being here and letting me interview you today.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Thank you.
So awesome. So, Joji, when can we go?